Welcome to Real Shanghai Mathematics Practice Book 2.2. So this is the start of the second book of year 2. As you're aware, there are only 2 books in each year. And we're starting off with this book, and there are 7 units here, and we're going to start off with the first unit. Previously, the first unit is a revision unit. So we start off with revision, revising, and it begins on page 2 in terms of the questions. Question 1, work out the answer. So 26 divided by 5. So they're expecting you to be able to write remainder. So in this case, it will be 26 divided by 5 equals 5 remainder 1. Okay, and the other one, as we mentioned before, you need to be familiar with the order in things are done. In terms of times and divide, like 4 times 9 divided by 6, times and divide at the same level. And so if they're in the same level, you do it in the order that it's mentioned. So 4 times 9 is 36, 36 divided by 6 is 6, and so equals 6. And when there's a combination of divide and plus, let's see if there's a combination here. Okay, so there's mention of 18 divided by 2 plus 25. Then remember, divide is before 25, before the addition, so it's 9 plus 25. And then moving on to question 2, fill in the brackets. What number divided by 3 equals 24 divided by 6? So we first have to work out 24 divided by 6. So 24 divided by 6 is 4. And then what number divided by 3 equals 4? And that will be 12, 12 divided by 3. And so on and so forth. And then B, we'll do the last one here, 3 times 4 plus 3 times 6. So you can see the 3's are the same here in terms of timesing. So we put 3 times something. And because there's an addition, there's going to be 4 plus 6. So that's the same as 3 times 10 equals 30. If you're not familiar with this, then you should be, because it's been covered before. And this is the importance of going through the material in order and not skipping. For example, don't skip year 2 book, the first one, go through it in order. And again, it's another reason why it is better to start off with easier book, even if it's a year 2 or 1 or 2 behind, as you soon catch up, because the material that's covered may not be the material that's been covered at your local school, and hence you may struggle with some of the information. And number 3, use your judgment to put a tick for correct or cross for incorrect. So it's just a case of double checking if it's right. So 37 divided by 7, which is equals 5 remainder 2. So that's going to be 7 times 5 is 35, remainder 2, which is 37. So that's correct in that regard. And you need to see which ones are correct and which ones are incorrect. And then moving on to level B, which are normally a little bit harder, so we'll spend a bit more time here. Sometimes we will skip these because it's not worth the effort in terms of how hard it is, but let's try these ones. So 1a is a square divided by 3 equals 6 remainder with a circle. When the number in the circle is the greatest possible answer, okay, so if it's greatest possible, then the remainder has to be 2. Why? Because we divided him by 3. So if the remainder was higher than 2, then it would have gone, for example, if it remainder 3, then it would have been in the 3 times table, and therefore there would not have been any remainder. So the only possible, when you divide it by 3, the only possible remainders are 1, 2, or 0. And in case 0, we don't write remainder 0. So therefore, the remainder has to be 2, in which case the answer has to be 6 times 3, 18, plus 2 remainder, which is 20. So it's 20 divided by 3, and then you can double check. 20 divided by 3 equals 6. Yes, 6, 18, remainder 2. Yes. And so on and so forth. And when the number in the circle is the smallest, this is for B, possible answers. Okay, so the number, when the number in the circle is the smallest. Okay, so the smallest, now again, it's just the other way around. So remainder is 5, so therefore the smallest one possible there has to be a 6. Otherwise, there would not have been, if it was 2, there would not be remainder 5. As I said, the remainder is going to be 1 less than the number you divided by, so the number there has to be 6, and when you know that's going to be 6, and it's 6 times 4 is 24, plus 5 is 29. So the square would in this case be 29. How many rectangles are there in total? So this one here, you got 1, 2, 3, which is separate, and then you've got a larger one which covers the first two column of rectangles, and then you also got a small along the line with another 2. So there's 1, 2, 3 as individual rectangles, and there's 2 lots of 2 rectangles. Let's see if I can quickly show you that in case it's confusing. So for that particular one, you've got a rectangle here, okay, and another rectangle here, and another rectangle here. So that's 3, and then you've got 4. This rectangle here is the 4th one, right? fourth rectangle. And there's another one here, fifth one as well. So it's just getting you to think outside the box, really. As I say, a little bit more trickier, so your child might struggle with it. It's a little bit of this. But let's move on. Page 4, which is again revision. Level A, read the questions carefully, work out the answer. So these are reading ones. 36 people in year 2 class go to the park. People go on a boat. Each boat takes 6 people. How many boats must they hire for the whole class? So it's 36 divided by 6. There are not enough empty boats on the pier for the whole class. They need another 2. How many empty boats are there on the pier already? Okay, so the people that go on the boating, each boat can take 6 people. There are not enough empty boats on the pier for the whole class. They need another 2. Okay, so they needed a 6. If they're not enough there, that means how many empty boats are there in the pier? That means there must have been 4 there because they need another 2 to get to the 6. And 1b, people are divided equally in 9 groups for each group. How many people are there in each group? So 36 divided by 9 is 4. If you give 2 bottles of water to each people, how many bottles do you need for each group? So then 9 each. Okay, if you give 2 bottles of water to each pupil, how many bottles do you need for each group? So what did we say for the group? We said there were 4 in each group. Is that right? Yes, 4 in each group. If you give 2 bottles of water for each pupil, so that'll be 4 times 2, 8. And C, 1C, each pupil divided into equally 9 parts. If the 9 parts are going to be 4 in each one. Each group needs 2 park maps. How many? So there are 4 groups. How many maps are needed for the whole class? 4 times 2. If the whole class needs another 2 maps as spares, how many maps? So 4 times 2 is 8, and then plus another 2, 10. D, people go to the square to feed doves. There are 8 grey doves. There are 2 times the number of white doves is grey doves, so 8 times 2 is 16. How many doves are there altogether? So you need to be 8 times 3. E, the people divided into 9 the pupils are divided equal to 9 groups, so it's still the same question. These are A, B, C, D are all part of the same one, so there's 36 divided by 9, 4. If you have 90 sweets, is that enough to give 8 sweets to each group? Okay, so if you gave how many groups are there? There are 4. There are 9 groups. And you have 90 sweets, is there enough to give? Yeah, 9 times 8 is going to be less than 9 times 10, which is 90 sweets. That'll be enough then. Write suitable numbers in the brackets. On the first line, or numbers to fill in the brackets. Second, write the greatest number that can be put in the number. So you can put the numbers and then you can work out the largest one possible. So in A, that'll be 6 times 4, because 6 times 5 is 30. And B, again, less than 35, so it'll be 4 times table, getting up to 32, 36, so it's going to be an 8. So just getting you familiar with the times table. And then B, level B, Dylan took some £1 coins and 5 and £10 off the shop and bought a pair of trainers. He wants to pay the exact amount without giving any change. Give the combination. So the different combinations that you can give. So we can go with 3 £10 and then 1 £5 and £3. As I say, many different ways of doing it. You can go with 2 £10 and 2 £5, and then you give 8 £1. And then like I say, lots of different combinations. You go £1 and lots of £5, and then a number. So there's more than 3 combinations. So it'd be fairly straightforward to do that one. Moving on to question 2, or not question 2, part 2, which is called multiplying using partitions. So just a quick reminder, because we've done this before. So this is what they're referring to as partitions. So a way of doing this would be a way. So from here, we're going through this way, and then it equals 15. So another way of doing what's 5 times 3. Another way of doing 5 times 3 would be by splitting the 5 into 3 and 2, and then we times it by 3. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. And this case, using the exact same principle to do multiplications which are larger, which we don't know in terms of our times table. So for example, 16 times 8 as shown here. 16 times 8. 16 times 8. So we can split these up into 2 numbers. 2 addition numbers, and we always go with the 10. When you got a choice, go with 10. 10 is easy. 10 times 8, you can do it automatically, so that's why that's easy. 10 times 8. Remember, with partition, they both have to be times by 8, and they have to be addition, because we're going for 10 plus 6. Okay, so 6, and it's times by 8 again, so times by 8, which is going to be 48. So it's going to be 48 plus 80. Okay, so 80 plus 48, and then you get your answer there. And that's what it means by multiplications by using partition, and then carrying on with that. So question 1 should be straightforward, and the different ways of doing it. So let's pick the second lot, which is 16 times 8, which is same as 8 times 8 plus 8 times 8. So if you know you square numbers, it should be straightforward. 64 plus 64, and then write the answer there. Again, use your preferred method. If you've got a choice, I would go with all its tens. Okay, unless you're very familiar with the squared numbers, then you can go with that. But generally go with 10. So 18 times 9, I would do 10 times 9 plus 8 times 9. What did I go? 11 times 7, that's 10 times 7 plus 1 times 7, and so on and so forth. And this is why probably Shanghai Math, in this one, they're not really telling you 11 times table, 12 times table, because you can quite quickly work it out anyway using this method. So 13 times 8 would be 10 times 8 plus 3 times 8. And question 3, read each question carefully and work out the answer. There are 4 places on the table with 12 opposite each, so you're doing 4 times 12, and then you can use the partition method for that. Or if you want to really know the 12 times table, then you would be able to do it straight away. 12 times 4 is 48. In this case, it would be 4 times 10 plus 2 times 4, which is 40 plus 8. B, head teacher has bought some new sport equipment. She has bought 15 footballs and some basketballs. The number of basketballs is 3 times the number of footballs. How many basketballs? So this is 3 times 15, and again you use partition. And then level B, separate one factor to make the multiplication easier and work it out. Okay, so separate one factor to make the multiplication easier and work it out. So what are they referring to here? Let's see. Okay, so how are they doing this here? Right. Okay, I'm not 100% sure how they're doing it, but one of the ways that you can do this fairly quickly would be 21 times 9. We can do 20 times 9 plus 1 times 9, and then that should be straightforward, because 9 times 20 is the same as 9 plus 9 times 2, which is 18, and then we add a 0 because we're timing by 10. I could do it that way. 5 times, and this one 5 times 26, we would do 5 times 20. Again, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Or you can do 5 times 10, 10, and then we add another 0 because we're timing by 10. So some ways we're doing partition and partition, and then we do the other one, which is 5 times 6. So that's one of the ways of doing it. I'm not going to do this worked out for you because, as I say, it's level B, and if you struggle with that, not to worry. But again, I repeat, 5 times 26, the way I would do it is 5 times 20. And if you're struggling with that, then do the other way, which is you can split that up into partition again, which is 5 times 10 plus 5 times 10. That gives you 5 times 20, and then you got 5 times 6 after that. And then moving on to the last one, which is 3. I mean, as you build your math skills, there are different techniques I can use, so you'll get more comfortable with that, particularly in terms of timesing by 10, which simply normally just means adding a 0. So we're going on to 3. What's the difference? So difference is usually about subtractions. And that's what they're really showing you here is in subtractions. So what is the difference between 18 and 30? So that's the same as 18 plus what number gives you 30? So 30 take away 18. And how do you do that? So 18 plus 10 and then plus 2. Or you could do 18 plus 2 gets you to 20 and then plus 10. And either way are fine. And 2, what is the difference between two numbers? Use your preferred method and write the answer. So 61 and 24. So the 61 take away 24. And we've done some of these before already, which would be borrowed from the 6, so that becomes 5, 11 take away 4, that's the same as 11 take away 1 take away 3, which is 7 at the end, and then 5 take away 2 is 3, so that being the 10 section. So your 1s will have a 7, and your 10s will have a 3, and that becomes 37. And B, again, 53 take away 35. 3, use the line segments diagram to write the number in each sentence and work out the answer. So this is one of the ways, sometimes a useful way of doing it if you're struggling with the concept, try and visualize it. So you can draw these lines. There are 12 volleyballs, the top one's 2 volleyballs, and there are 30 footballs. Okay, how many more there are? So if you look at the diagrams, you go, how many more is going to be a difference between the two? So we're going to do 30, take away 12, and then work out the answer. How many volleyballs there are? There are 18 more footballs than volleyballs, and that one is going to be then 30, take away 18. How many footballs are there? There are 12 volleyballs. There are 18 fewer volleyballs than footballs. And so the footballs is going to be, where are we again? How many footballs are there? 18 fewer volleyballs than the volleyballs. So it's going to be 12 plus, how many footballs are there? There are 18 fewer volleyballs than footballs. So the footballs are going to be more than the volleyballs. So it's going to be 12 plus 18. And there are 30 footballs. How many footballs are there altogether? So altogether is an addition, 30 plus 12. Write number sentences and work out the answer. Which number is 47 more than 23? So it's 23 plus 47. Which number is 15 less than 50? 50 take away 15. And number 5, question 5, apply. 41 domestic geese and 26 ducks were swimming in the lake. Then 12 weeks flew over. How many more domestic geese are there than ducks? So domestic geese are 41, then ducks. So there's 41 take away 26. How many fewer wild geese are there than domestic geese? So that would be 41 take away 12. What is the difference between the number of ducks and the number of wild geese? So it'll be wild geese 12 and number of ducks is 26. So 26 take away 12. Remember, we're takeawaying at this level. Well, just remember, for your child, takeawaying is the larger number, takeaway is smaller number. Always the larger number, takeaway smaller number. At the moment, because we're only doing positive numbers. And then level B, question 1, there are 38 goats and some sheep in a field. There are 19 fewer goats than sheep. How many sheep are there? So are there 19 fewer goats than sheep? So which one's going to be more, sheep or goats? So you work out 19 fewer goats than sheep. So sheep are going to be more. So if it's going to be more, it's going to be 38 plus 19. And how many are there altogether? And you add the numbers together. In a wood, there are 52 pine trees. There are 25 more pine trees than willow trees. How many willow trees are there? So there will be less or more. It's going to be less. So it's going to be 52 take away 25. That gives you the number of willow trees. And then you add the willow trees, the answer to 52, to give you how many number there are altogether. And with that, we'll end this lesson. Thank you for your time. Please do not forget to like and subscribe and share your comments below. And it's good to know if it's of benefit to you and ways of improving it, or if there are areas that I need to spend more time on and to cover in more detail. Thank you.